Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to our regular North Miami Community Redevelopment Agency meeting. It's Tuesday, April 9th. It's 5:36 p.m. Madam Secretary, roll call, please.
Chairman Desilme,
Here?
Board Member Timothy,
Here.
Board Member Charles,
Present.
Vice Chair Estimate Irvin,
Present.
Board Member Galvin.
Here.
Chairman, you have a quorum to proceed.
Thank you so much, Madam Secretary. We're gonna do the Pledge of Allegiance and then go into consent agenda, and we'll take our first item. To the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Madam Secretary,
Unless a member of the CRA Board wishes to remove a specific item from this portion of the agenda,
okay, we are adding something to the consent?
Yes, I believe item 3 was requested to be put on consent.
Yes, that is correct.
What's item
That's
three?
the.
Item 3 is the approval and assignment of, the approval of the assignment and assumption of grant agreement from Riva Development Corp. to Sunshine State Development of South Florida Incorporated.
Can you make it a little more specific? What?
So then it would not be on consent.
Yeah.
All right,
Well,
then
leave it-
So then we can leave it as is, as a regular item.
I'd like,
leave it out.
so I'd like
unless
to
a
move,
member,
Go ahead.
so,
Wait, hold on.
to discuss for Board Member Galvin.
Yeah.
say that one more time?
It needs to be discussed for Board Member Galvin, so it cannot go on consent. We'll have to do it as a regular item.
Can there be a discussion about it being on?
No, consent doesn't
It's the
require
consent
discussion.
because- Yeah. We did, okay, so we all set.
unless,
Go ahead.
unless a member of the CRA Board wishes to remove a specific item from this portion of the agenda, tabs A through E constitute the consent agenda. These resolutions and items are self-explanatory and are not expected to require additional review or discussion. These items will be recorded as individually numbered resolutions adopted unanimously by the following motion: that the consent agenda comprised of tabs A through E be adopted.
Thank you. Can I hear a motion? to
So move.
Second.
I have a motion made by Board Member Charles to approve the consent agenda, tabs A through E. The motion was seconded by Board Member Galvin. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? The motion carries with a 5-0 vote.
Thank you so much, Madam Executive Director. Agenda item 1.
NMCRA staff is requesting that the NMCRA Board approve an expenditure of funds not to exceed $32,150 for the Chairman's initiative to provide hurricane readiness kits to residents within the NMCRA boundaries. Ready America Incorporated is one of the nation's leading disaster supply companies, providing products to help consumers prepare for and defend against natural disasters that they may face. As hurricane season approaches, the Chairman is launching an initiative to help equip NMCRA residents with the necessary supplies to improve their resiliency against a potential disaster. As such, 200 hurricane emergency kits will be made available for residents within the NMCRA boundaries. Such kits will include the following items as listed in the memo, but they will include food, biohazard bags, gloves, lanyards, emergency ponchos and blankets, a tent, radio, and other items as needed for the protection of the residents during this time. Staff recommends approval of this expenditure.
Agenda item 1, approval of Chairman's initiative for hurricane safety kits.
Move approval.
Second.
I have a motion made by Board Member Galvin to approve agenda item 1. The motion was seconded by Board Member Estimate
Sorry,
Irvin.
hold on 1 second, Madam Secretary, we forgot. Open for discussion, public hearing on the item, tab 1, item 1. See none coming, item closed. Go ahead, Madam Secretary.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? The motion carries with a 5-0 vote.
Thank you so much.
Agenda
2.
item 2, approval of commercial rehabilitation grant request, JBL.
NMCRA staff is requesting that the NMCRA board approve the rehabilitation grant request from JBL Premier Northwest 119th Miami LLC, located at 805 Northwest 119th Street for $100,000. JBL Asset Management is a well-established privately held company specializing in commercial real estate services and has a proven track record of success in the industry. The goal is to transform an outdated shopping center into a vibrant community landmark by comprehensively modernizing its exterior and interior features to enhance its appeal. The proposed improvements will enhance the property's aesthetic appeal and promote economic growth and vitality in the area. The proposed renovations for 119th Plaza consist of the following: installing a new site lighting for the parking lot, building a new monument sign, relocating electrical infrastructure to allow for tenancy expansion, revamping the landscaping, conducting phase 1 and phase 2 facade renovations to modernize the building and enhance the curb appeal. The total project cost for this project is $750,000. Staff recommends approval of $100,000.
Thank you so much. Public hearing is open on the item. Seeing none coming, public hearing is closed. Let me say this before, and I would like to move the item, but it is so needed. I'm so glad that this developer who owned this particular plaza is coming. This is well, you know, this been a long time. We needed something in the area, and the pictures look just amazing in terms of what they are doing in there. So I move the item.
Second.
Okay.
I have a motion made by Chairman Desilme to approve Agenda Item 2. The motion was seconded by Board Member Galvin. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? The motion carries with a 5-0 vote.
Looks beautiful. Thank you.
Agenda Item 3, approval of assignment and assumption of grant agreement from Riva Development Corp. to Sunshine State Development of South Florida, Inc. A resolution of the Chair and Board members of the North Miami Community Redevelopment Agency authorizing the assignment and assumption of the Riva Development Corporation grant agreement from Riva Development Corporation to Sunshine State Development of South Florida, Inc., authorizing the Executive Director and North Miami CRA Attorney to negotiate and finalize an assignment and assumption agreement between Riva Development Corporation and Sunshine State Development of South Florida, Inc., authorizing the Executive Director to execute the assignment and assumption agreement, authorizing the Executive Director to take all action necessary to implement the terms of the assignment and assumption agreement, and providing an effective date. Agenda Item 3.
Okay, thank you so much. The item, public hearing is open on the item. Okay, so none coming, public hearing is
Move for
closed.
approval?
Second. Mr. Galvin, you good?
Mhm.
Awesome.
Yeah, I just didn't know what item
I
3
got
was
it.
when you
It's
said
Right,
Riva,
so-
when you said the Riva project, that's all I needed.
Oh,
Right, and
I
that's
have
why
a-
I wanted to
Right.
put it on the consent, because we've been
Yeah,
over
yeah,
this
yeah.
over
No, I
and
just,
over.
Yeah.
I was referred to here as item 3 since I was just sitting down and didn't have the agenda up. I didn't know that item
got
3
it.
was the Riva project. Now that I know that it's the Riva project, I don't have any
What's
questions.
that? Awesome, thank you. It's moved and second.
I have a motion made by Board Member Estime Irvin to approve Agenda Item 3. The motion was seconded by Chairman Desilme. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries with a 5-0 vote.
Thank you.
Agenda Item 4, approval of proposal for activation for Liberty Gardens Park. A resolution of the Chair and Board members of the North Miami Community Redevelopment Agency authorizing the Executive Director and North Miami CRA Attorney to negotiate and finalize a license agreement with Drinking Pig LLC to develop, operate, and maintain a restaurant in Liberty Gardens Park. Authorizing the Executive Director to execute the license agreement with Drinking Pig LLC. Authorizing the Executive Director to take all action necessary to implement the terms of the agreement, and providing an effective date. Agenda Item 4.
Thank you so much. Item is open for public hearing. Madam Executive, any presentation, or we could just go to discussion?
NMCRA staff is requesting that the NMCRA Board approve the license agreement with Drinking Pig LLC for the activation of Liberty Gardens Park. This proposal aims to activate an underutilized alleyway within our downtown, transforming it into a vibrant outdoor barbecue restaurant concept. The goal is to enhance the appeal of the downtown corridor to residents and visitors alike, while also creating a unique dining experience that fosters a sense of community and engagement. Key aspects include a unique dining experience, live music performances and events, craft barbecue sauces and special cocktails, and a flexible and pet-friendly environment. Additionally, starting from the second year of the agreement, the NMCRA will participate in 5% of gross revenue sharing. Staff recommends approval of the resolution.
Okay,
Madam, if I
thank
may,
you.
Mr. Mayor,
Yes, go ahead.
because this one is my item 3 and 4. This is a project that has been in the process now for 2 years in the making. Budgeted some funding from the last fiscal year. We brought it up last year. I know, Mayor, you said at that time you were unaware of the item and
Yes.
the homelessness issue that is happening at Liberty Park. I hope you were brought up to speed because it, we delayed it a bit, but we had to get all of our ducks in order. But now we're at this junction where we're ready to move. I would like to thank all of city staff who met with me and the operator several times on this item. Samoyer Value, who was next door, she was actually one of the originators, because she was like, hey, I'm selling wine, I would love to have like a food pairing. And I was like, you know what, I have this concept that I'm working on. Let's hope we can get it going. And the item will transform Liberty Park, which is right now is a alleyway, right now being used by a lot of homeless people, and to activate it with food, with just entertainment, and just doing something that's innovative, that's different. And of course, bringing Drinking Pig. I don't know if you all are aware, it is a previous North Miami business. They have a really good barbecue spot. The chef was previously at Karun Y in Wynwood, and he opened up this Drinking Pig concept, and it's now doing really well. They have over, a following on social media, and I just thought that it would be a great idea to bring them over to North Miami to just activate one of our underutilized alleyways in the downtown. So tonight, I'm also seeking your approval on this item, and with that, if there's further discussion, I'll move the item.
Okay,
Second.
thank you.
I
If
just
you
have
may, I have some questions.
Question.
You want to go, or you want me to
Sure.
go? Yeah, I'm very supportive, Councilwoman, or any one of the members of any of the projects, and I know that we have been talking about this for a while. I just did not know the concept, and I'm pretty sure it's gonna do pretty well, pretty fine, but it was, I think last week, somebody told me about something with barbecue, and I know a lot of stuff is happening around the city, so I told them no. I didn't know of anything, and then when I looked, they told me it might be the CRA item that it was on there. My only question in what I told staff is it would be very respectful out of everybody, not only me. Anything in somebody's district, anybody meet with me, I'll tell them, and I say go and talk to the district commissioner and then talk to the other council people, because it's all of us that's voting. I don't know the owner. I never met with her. I'm pretty sure you're good, and I'm sure the item will do very well. But that was my only thing that I shared with staff. I don't have absolutely no opposition to the project. But in the future, I'm telling staff that make sure that these folks who are coming in to do business in the city, I don't even know the owner or anything about the owner, and that's not fair to us. That's all I'm saying. And that's my only thing to it in that. But that's basically it. Councilman Godwin.
Thanks. No, I think I love the idea too. How are they going to secure their stuff? Because I know very much about the homeless. I get calls, even though I don't represent the areas.
So part of the concept is there will be a gate, but we have to keep some part of the alleyway open, because it still has to be an alleyway, so there still has to be an access point. So there will be a piece that's open that will continue the walkway, but there will be a fence, and it will be locked and so forth.
Okay, so
It'll be kind of like a food truck container. Everything will be contained in the container.
Okay, I just worried about the operator's stuff being stolen, or I see a beautiful bar, wow, count me in, but,
You're there for the drink.
Right, exactly. It's like there's not gonna be a way for somebody to access the liquor or the cooking or.
Because it's actually a container, one of those, like what do you call them? Like
It's
a
a
food,
Food truck
like
or-
that.
It's a shipping
A
container.
shipping container, that's what they are, yeah, the shipping container.
Oh,
mhm.
so you're gonna get are you gonna get a shipping container in the alley?
Alleyway, correct.
Yes.
Now I see that. Okay,
Mhm.
now, and it doesn't bump up against the neighboring walls?
No.
We don't have to worry about insurance with,
No.
okay, exciting use of the space. The only thing before we open it, I know there are a couple of restaurants that are already in the area. This doesn't compete per se, because it's not serving the same thing as like what Tomato a Basil does or Luna Star does or something like that. But we should just make sure we, excuse me, we inform the restaurants just so that they
of
know
course.
there's a new restaurant coming. But I'm excited because it's really, the homeless situation has been an issue, and this is a beautiful,
Ongoing.
exciting activation of space that basically is not being utilized. So I applaud you for
Thank you.
this.
Yeah, if I may,
Yes.
Chairman.
Go ahead.
No, I just want to say it is a very, very nice concept, especially one of the nicest way to activate our alleyways. I think it is going to set the tone and as far as what we can do moving forward. Hopefully, they open up and then making a lot of money. So I'll definitely stop by. I like it. I'll stop by, but it is something that we can probably spread throughout the city. And make sure that we have several of them so that we can gladly enjoy that, the waves. Not so much for the drink, but
Scott
the
will
waves.
take the drink.
I'll just drink my way
So
through
for the
dinner.
week,
That's how I get
no,
into
that
council meeting.
No, that is a very, very nice concert.
Thank
Love it.
Okay.
Now, one last question though. Couple of the homeless complaints I have, and I don't know that they're really homeless because that's just a blanket term that people use, but it's stuff that's happening on the north side alleyway, where people will be parking probably to come to this. So as long as we make sure that NMPD is aware to just sort of keep an eye on people parking, coming and going, because that's where Luna has its homeless concerns, is not what's happening on 125th Street or necessarily in Liberty Gardens, but what's happening on the alley
On
that
the
runs
alleyway.
between them and the apartment residentials and stuff on the other side. So just as long as everybody's aware and on the same page.
And police has provided me with the report. They had 238 calls, and they have been adding that area just to the suites because they have been getting calls by the police department. So
Yeah.
Sharif Goss did share that information with me.
I like it.
Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you. Ready, Madam Secretary?
I have a motion made by Board Member Timothy to approve Agenda Item 4. Motion was seconded by Board Member Estimate Irvin. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries with a 5-0 vote.
Item,
Agenda Item 5, approval of MOU with City of North Miami for
are they
active.
here? Wait. Are they, is the operator of the last item, are they here?
Yes, Adrian's in the back. He was supposed to bring
Okay.
barbecue, but the chef is in Chicago. So
Okay, go ahead.
I have a question. Are there gonna be vegetarian barbecue? Yeah, we'll have All right, thank you.
Welcome.
Number 5, number 6. Item 5? Is
Item
5
five.
6? Or
Five.
6 is 4?
5.
Agenda Item 5, approval of MOU with City of North Miami for activation of Liberty Gardens Park. A resolution of the Chair and board members of the North Miami Community Redevelopment Agency authorizing the Executive Director and North Miami CRA Attorney to negotiate and finalize a memorandum of understanding with the City of North Miami for the development, operation, and maintenance of a restaurant in Liberty Gardens Park, authorizing the Executive Director to execute the memorandum of understanding with the City of North Miami, authorizing the Executive Director to take all action necessary to implement the terms of the memorandum of understanding and providing an effective date. Agenda Item 5.
Yes, public hearing is open on item 5. Seeing none coming, public hearing is closed.
Move for
It's,
approval.
second.
It's the company item, I
It's a-
guess it's the sister item to the first item.
I have a motion made by Board Member Estimate Irvin to approve Agenda Item 5. The motion was seconded by Board Member Timothy. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries with a 5-0 vote. Agenda Item 6, approval of expenditure of funds for Community Policing Initiative Flock. A resolution of the Chair and board members of the North Miami Community Redevelopment Agency authorizing the Executive Director and North Miami CRA Attorney to negotiate and finalize an interlocal agreement with the City of North Miami for the funding of the purchase and implementation of an infrastructure-free license plate reader camera from Flock Group, Inc. in an amount not to exceed $120,450 and $0, authorizing the Executive Director to execute the interlocal agreement with the City of North Miami, authorizing the Executive Director to take all action necessary to implement the terms of the interlocal agreement and providing an effective date. Agenda Item 6.
Awesome, and this is a great initiative. The public hearing is open on the item.
We do have a representative from Flock as well as the North Miami Police Department who are here to do a presentation.
That's fine. I think everybody is self-explanatory, so
Okay.
I just have one
unless
question.
unless they want to come up, you go ahead, Vice.
I just have one question. Thank you so much for this. I see that the flock camera locations, at any time, can we add a location and or remove a location as well? Okay,
Okay.
okay.
Come on. Yeah,
Just
come
say
to
the same
mic
thing
at
again at the
least,
mic,
yeah.
that's all. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Jordan Harris with Flock Safety. In regards to moving or adding cameras, you can install, remove, or expand on
Good.
any
Okay.
infrastructure.
Okay,
That's what I
thank
want
you.
to know. Thank you so
You're
kindly.
welcome.
And we close public hearing on it, right? We open? Well, consider that open. And now it's closed.
Move for approval.
Second.
I have a motion made by Board Member Charles to approve Agenda Item 6. The motion was seconded by Chairman Desilme. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries with a 5-0 vote.
Thank you. Item 7.
Agenda Item 7, approval of Loan Selection Committee recommendation.
Okay, Madam, go ahead.
Staff is submitting, so there are two memos here. One is from the purchasing director, and then one will be from me. So staff is submitting for review and approval the recommendation of the North Miami CRA Executive Director with regards to the evaluation committee results for request for proposals RFP 25-23-24 bank loan for the North Miami Community Redevelopment Agency, and to request the board's authority for the NMCRA Executive Director and NMCRA attorney to negotiate and finalize an agreement with the firm recommended by the committee. RFP number 25-23-24 was issued for the purpose of seeking proposals from interested firms to purchase from the NMCRA its redevelopment revenue note series 2024 for a not to exceed amount of $50 million. In response to this solicitation, the city received and opened one proposal submitted on a timely basis from the firm Morgan Stanley and Company. The evaluation committee reviewed the proposal, and the recommendation was subsequently submitted to the NMCRA Executive Director for approval. As a result, the Executive Director is recommending the board's approval of the evaluation committee's results, which is to enter into an agreement with Morgan Stanley. And attached are the proposals, the timeline, and a memo from our financial advisors. A representative from our financial advisor firm is on the way. However, he is still stuck in traffic. He will be here shortly. We do have bond from PFM, Sergio Masvidal, and we do have our bond counsel present, Jolinda Herring from BMO, Brian Miller and Olive.
Okay. Public hearing is open on the item number 7. Public hearing is closed. In terms of our rating, but before we get to our ratings, were they the only one who the committee recommended, or
They were the only response, so
okay.
the committee did recommend
no.
going with the sole bidder.
So is I saw somewhere in there that the amount should not exceed 50? I thought it was 60.
We got approval from the county to go out for 60. Based on our financials, we did the RFP for 50 million.
Okay.
And so that was what the responses were for.
I got you. Okay. So that, I guess that's a factor of our ratings and all that too?
We are in the process of getting a rating. We are not yet rated.
Okay.
We are in the process of being rated.
So what happened if we don't, do we know the standards that we need to be where we need to be?
Yes, we are. So in order to meet the standards, we have been submitting different documents in, and so we anticipate being able to get our rating within about 2 weeks, I think.
Okay.
So we are not currently concerned that we will not meet the
Okay.
rating standard, so we do think we should be able to be successful in that effort.
Okay. All right.
Will the rating approve our loan amount at any time, or is it just to be rated?
The rating is simply just our credit worthiness.
That's our credit score.
Our credit rating.
Alrighty.
Well, I just had a few more questions, Mayor, I'm sorry.
Go ahead, please.
I know we only had one that submitted, but were there other banks that were, questioning or sending questions regarding the RFP?
Several banks submitted questions, only one submitted a proposal.
Okay. And so as of today, you are recommending that we move forward with this one?
So I'll go back a little bit. There are options for the board. The recommendation at this time is to move forward with Morgan Stanley. However, you do have the option of reopening the bid if you so choose.
But there's a possibility that we may or may not get additional.
Correct.
Right.
If you open, and just to give you more insight into the process, when we initially had the bid, we did not receive any proposals for the original deadline. We extended the deadline 2 more weeks, and we did receive one proposal.
And then there was nothing that we can do to further get more banks. I don't know, a bond council would have done more outreach. I'm just trying to understand, how do we get more banks engaged? I'm surprised a Bank of America didn't submit, or.
Well, the item was done through the procurement department. I believe it was placed on Demand Star. I think that, you know, I had sent it to various banks. I think that there was a dearth of banks that, you know, saw this proposal, and as the executive director said, with the original date, only one, you know, there were none, and then we extended and only one, you know, proposal was received. I mean, the item will come back before you for approval. Tonight is not approving the resolution and the actual loan amount, and the interest rate and all of that. It will come back. This is just basically giving us the authority to move forward and negotiate with Morgan Stanley.
Oh, so there's room for negotiation?
Yes.
Okay.
There will be a resolution that bond council will prepare that'll be before you. Based on the timeline, that'll be at the end of May.
So there's a timetable that is proposed in the packet. So we do anticipate bringing this back at the May 14th meeting for the approval of the terms, and then we anticipate being able to close 2 weeks after that, towards the end of May. But things like our interest rate and things like that won't be locked in until towards the end of that month.
Oh, so as of right now, we don't know our interest rate.
We
Right.
know what was proposed. So right now, based on the proposal, it's around 4.35%. However, that is not locked in and will not be locked in until closer to the closing date.
So,
But, oh, go ahead.
right, so, okay, I'm glad that you mentioned that. So this is, so basically, if you go and negotiate, you bring it back to us, we don't accept, we don't have to take it, right?
You don't.
Correct.
Perfect, so I
So there's
just
still
wanted to reiterate that.
But quickly, so what factor could play a role in here that I know, you know, the North Miami CRA opened up that bond on the one bank, just looking at it. So what, is it our credit rating, or what is it?
So we currently do not have a credit rating, but that could also be, this is the first time the agency is going out for debt. So the fact that we've never taken on debt before may be a concern for certain lenders.
The market.
The market.
Mm.
Jump in whenever you want.
The market itself, and as the executive director mentioned, you know, the CRA has not gone out and gotten a bond or a loan in the past, so that may have been somewhat of a deterrent.
We didn't get one before?
We had a line of credit for, I think it was about 10 or 11 million dollars that was required by the county in order for the CRA to extend its initial life from 10 to 15 years, and we never drew down on it actually, but we did have that line of credit for some time. That was a little different, and it was only about $10 million. This is a much larger debt, so the market itself is a much different market than it was back then. So, I mean, I think all of that comes into play.
Okay.
All right, so this is the first step, and I saw I know this is the first step, and I saw the schedule of that you have, so we pretty much have to do what we do. I think it's been moved, right?
Yeah, move for approval?
Second.
I have a motion made by Board Member Vice Chair Estimate Urban to approve Agenda Item 7. The motion was seconded by Board Member Galvin. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries with a 5-0 vote.
I'm not sure that we open it to the public.
Oh, yeah, public
Okay.
hearing is open. Let's take that back. Public hearing is open on the item. Oh, we've been so good, nobody's coming
Okay.
to speak, so we good. Public hearing is closed on the item.
Agenda Item 8, approval of revised property disposal guidelines.
Okay.
NMCRA staff is requesting that the NMCRA board adopt the proposed real properties disposal guidelines that specify the process by which the agency will dispose of property within the NMCRA boundaries. The NMCRA currently owns 3 properties located at 1270 Northwest 123rd Street, North Miami, Florida 33167, 12505 Northwest 11th Avenue, and 975 Northwest 132nd Street, North Miami, Florida 33168. The NMCRA may sell, lease, or otherwise transfer the parcels for use in accordance with the 2023 NMCRA redevelopment plan update. As such, the NMCRA staff is proposing guidelines pursuant to the Florida statutes 163.380, subsection 3, subsection A, to facilitate the disposal of properties within its boundaries. NMCRA staff recommends approval of the proposed guidelines.
All right, thank you. And we have done this before, so this will, so, but it's my understanding that we never formally adopted the guidelines. Is that what it is?
The prior guidelines included the actual notice with the actual dates
Oh.
of that time. So those dates have expired. Additionally, there was a process in the original guidelines that, and I will outline what the major changes are in the revisions. If you look at page 5, the evaluation and selection process, initially what happened is once everything was received by the NMCRA staff would make sure that the responses met the criteria, and then it would be sent to the board. The board would then rank the responses and send it back to the recommend to the executive director, and the executive director would then send it back to the board for
Oh
then
my
another
Lord.
selection. So it was very
That was
confused. That was what it was originally. So what I have proposed here is the first step would to be for staff to go ahead and review for compliance that the whatever responses are received are compliant. Then we would forward all responsive proposals to the board. The board would evaluate and rank those responses and then
Select.
authorize the executive director to enter negotiations based on what you would like. So there's not the back and forth 3 different times.
Okay, all right, and then we have what is this in the backup about the allocation of the points of the proposal?
That was in the existing guidelines.
Oh, that was what was, so when the folks had to submit, when, Ms. McDonald was the, executive director, this is what they had to go by?
Yes, this was the
Okay.
evaluation criteria. The board tonight can choose to keep this evaluation
no.
criteria or not.
I was just
However, yeah.
asking if it was part of,
Yes.
part of it, okay. So, nothing been added, you just,
The changes that I
Simplifying.
made, yeah,
Mhm.
were in what I described in the evaluation and selection process.
okay. All right,
Question,
Mhm.
Mayor, if I
Mhm.
may.
Go ahead.
With this process, is the CRA rehabbing the houses and then putting them out for sale, or is it just as is?
So that's the direction that the board would have to give. So right now, the options are, so the CRA currently owns these 3 parcels. The CRA can give them out currently as is. The CRA could redevelop the parcels and then give them out, and that would be at the direction of the board.
Or-
And
Or the third option, which has been how we got to these, these guidelines, and we have one of the, opponent, not opponent, but one of the persons that's been talking about that or they could buy it, the residents could buy it in terms of developing it. That was the initial guideline. So yes, because you
Wasn't
mentioned
that the
2
first one?
of
right,
them.
no, that's the
Oh,
first
that
one.
was the
So
first
even
one,
if
okay.
a resident chooses to purchase it, it has to be pursuant to these guidelines.
No, I
Yeah,
understand
so
that,
yeah.
and it always has been,
Yeah.
in terms of
So,
that.
if I could finish my question, so with that being said, so with the CRA's purpose is to remove some and buy, would the CRA want to rehab them and then put them out so that we're actually removing the some and buy before we just put it out for bid?
Are you
No, no.
asking the board, or you just,
No, I'm just like
Mhm.
making
Making
that,
a statement.
that statement, because like I know, like we're here to remove some and blight. So my thing
Exactly.
is, shouldn't we remove it first before putting it out? I don't know, I just know that, so that's something that right now you're looking for us to give you
No,
directives.
I think these are guidelines, and within this
Guidelines.
guideline, there are options that, if my understanding is that we would have to give the directives on how, but right now, these are the guidelines.
These are just the guidelines.
Just the guidelines, but we could always come back.
on how to
how
dispose
to
the property.
Am I understanding that correctly?
Which should we give,
Uh,
I was
if
gonna
I-
say, should we give it before, cause why would we come back?
Mhm.
Because at that point, they're going out to bid,
What is going out to bid?
or they're going out for.
Right, what is this doing right now? Let me just get.
Right now, this
understanding.
item is to approve the proposed guidelines as contained in your materials. The board can also give direction on how to dispose of the properties
At this time?
at this time if you so choose. However, the item that you're doing is to approve these guidelines. If you just approve the guidelines and do nothing else, we would have to come back to get further direction, or you could give that direction tonight.
Okay.
Okay.
But
I just
I was
Right.
just about to add that one of them is on empty lot.
It's
Yes.
true.
Mhm.
Yes,
One of them is on empty lot.
That's
So
true.
I
So I
think
I would
we
say as is.
okay.
Right.
Yeah, this
Exactly.
has to be
That's
as is.
that's why I wanna
And-
head. Man.
And that was the initial conversation that we had before we even had the guidelines, was the two homeowners, they wanted to buy it. They don't want no discount, they don't want nothing in terms of that. So when guidelines were created prior to that, that was part of the understanding of the scope. Now, over the years, this has been 4 or 5 years ongoing in the back and forth. So that was that. We were under the impression, I was told, that the executive director, based on the guideline, could have the guideline established and the executive director dispose. This was back when Mr. Shiver was the executive director. Even prior to that, we came with the guideline before he came on board. So that's why I wanted to know what was the.
Right.
Yeah,
the
because I remember
chances
when
of it.
Rasha was the CRA, it
Mhm,
actually
that's
went
when it
out,
started.
and there was only 2 proposals that were received.
Yes,
So what-
and I don't know why we didn't move forward with those two, but we're here now. But yes.
They were employees.
So what I'm comfortable doing tonight is I'm comfortable passing the guidelines and then coming and having a conversation with us on how we think it should, we should be, to come back and give directives on what to do with those properties.
But this is, I think what
Or if
she's
we-
saying, and my whole thing is, it's been for too long, so we need to decide either what we are doing, and instead of playing these games or whatever, back and forth, we approve it, you take the bid, whoever comes in, and then we rank it and dispose them and move forward. Would be future properties, which I've always said in my stand, there's maybe about 1 or 2 properties that I know, future properties. I don't disregard what the board wants to do, wants to rehab those, want to do whatever they want to do in terms of that, but it's just the unfairness of those 2 previous property. This was before Councilman Charles got on
This is
5
before me.
5 or 6 years ago. No, I think he was here when he first came on board. So I don't know what's the plan, but when I was the district commissioner, my plan was to dispose the property to the homeowners, and then those 2, whatever happened after that, we'll move forward. And when we came with these guidelines, I voiced my opinion at that time, which I didn't even see the purpose of it, but I understand we had to go through the commotion of getting it done. So it's here now, and I'm still standing by, what I had said before, because it feels like to me, it's back and forth. Like she said, it's going on almost 5 years.
Yeah, I'll just follow through with Chair. I think it's been way too long, dragging and over. From the day I came on board up to now, I think I got about like at least 25 to 30 phone calls just about those properties. So I think at this point we should just go ahead and dispose them as is, and then move on with the process. And it was a simple process when I went back and looked at the background information about them. So let's just go ahead and make it happen instead of like going back and forth. Let's move this and get it out of the way. So I think that would be my recommendation.
So I would respectfully say that I disagree with that. I think that because of it's been slum and blighted for so long, and pursuant to our mission as a CRA, I think that this would be a good start for us to take this project, to direct the CRA to go ahead and build, to develop it, and then to go ahead and give opportunity for first-time home buyers or whatever. I think that would be more aligned with our mission. I think it would ensure that we are eliminating the slum and blight. And so that's the direction. So this is the first time that I've opined on this, because every
No,
time this
it's
has
not
come
the
up,
first time. This is
this-
not the first time.
Mr. Chair, this is the first time that I have opined on this, Vice Mayor Marissa May Irvin. Every time that we have a conversation, we always table this. When it was, even the guidelines were tabled. So that's why this is the first opportunity that I've had personally to talk about this in public. And because of all of the back and forth, so how do we ensure that the person that is going to purchase the property is not going to leave it in that same fashion? And there
First
are
of
other
all,
questions, but it's
can
not
I-
even
can I-
that.
okay,
It's
let-
not,
let me- let me-
may I finish, please?
Please.
Thank
yes,
you.
finish,
May I
and go
finish?
ahead.
So,
Mhm.
so this is, I'm just voicing
Yes,
my
yes.
statement.
Go
I
ahead.
understand
No,
that you guys want to do as is, but I think And I think it would be a good model for our CRA as well, you know, to show that we had 3 properties that we've helped with 3, you know, my understanding there are 2s, right?
So there are 2 homes, there are 2 structures and 1 vacant lot.
Right.
And I'll just take the opportunity just to make sure that, so statutorily, the 2 criteria that must be met, along with whatever other criteria the board would like to add, is first, it has to be developed, even if we give it out to a third party, that third party must develop it in accordance with the CRA plan and must present a financing plan of how they will develop it and make sure that that financing plan is in place.
Okay,
So
so,
that's according to the Florida statutes,
Okay.
that those 2 things have to be, the board has to deem that those 2 things are met.
so whether we
order-
develop, so whether the CRA develops it or not, or we give it as is, whoever is purchasing it has to have a plan.
They
It
have
has
to-
to show it, and they have to do it by?
They have to show that it's in accordance with the CRA's redevelopment plan, so our 2023 plan, and that they have the requisite financing to complete the project. Those are 2 statutory requirements that you must find in order to dispose of those properties to that third party.
Right. And then it works either way for me.
Yeah, because what I was going to add, there's one of them that has been a hotspot for the longest. People just keep on breaking into them. I think IRS had been made and everything, and also keeping them clean. It's like, I have to keep on voicing my opinion from time to time, just to make sure that, especially the one just by Sassopool, been like in a very, very bad shape. And so, to me, since we have the guidelines and, either way that we go, we're still gonna, to me, it's a win-win. So we can dispose them as is, because whoever is going to take over them has to follow the guidelines. So I think we can move on from there and call it a day.
Yes, can I, just to piggyback on what Councilman and what Vice Mayor said, this has been ongoing from the get-go, and these were not properties of the CRA, they were properties of the city. We were told that if we did buy the city, it would have been a quicker access, and these are not people, these are residents. They are residents who lives in the city for many, many years, and we wanted, in fact, when I had this conversation back then, it was with City Manager Larry Springs and Attorney Jeff Cazot. And my concern has always been, it's a resident who gets this, and they knew that they have to develop it into, low income, something in terms of that, folks who have families in the community. But it's been 6 and 7 years. But prior to that, one of the property has been on the market for over a decade, and nobody said anything until this resident came up here in a council meeting a couple years ago and started all the process. And so that's the only thing I don't like, anything of unfairness. And so these are our residents. These are not folks who are, and we did the best that we could to make sure that how could we write something where every developer elsewhere does not come in the same situation that we have, where it's not benefiting somebody to North Miami. So I will stand dying talking about that, advocating for what I think is right. And like I said with the guideline from before, you guys could do whatever you want to do with any other property, and we have some that are coming, that's fine. I don't have any problem with that, but I just think that those 2, that they have brought them to us, and they said to us, we don't need no money. We don't need nothing. We've been saving. We want to do it as residents to develop affordable housing. Our kids doesn't have a place to stay in terms of doing that. So that's the only thing that's been going on back and forth in terms of that. That's just that. So I see this.
Mr. Mayor, if I
Yes,
may?
yes, please.
I would just give my opinion as well.
Mhm.
I know when I first got on, I have heard about the properties when I was an employee, and then when I first got on, I actually sponsored a resolution on the city side about disposal of city property to make sure that it's being used for affordable housing, which is actually in our charter.
Yep.
We are mandated as council persons to ensure that we are creating affordable housing for our
Yes.
residents. So that was one. And then 2, when we sent it over to the CRA, it went kind of back and forth. It ping pong. It went out. I remember when the notice went out I think there were 3 proposals because one of
No, respectfully, go ahead when you
Yeah,
finish.
there were 3 proposals that were submitted because one of them was actually working directly with me and the executive director at that time to ensure that, you know, as a North Miami resident lifelong, he was looking for a home at the time and he submitted a proposal too, and it wasn't kind of, you know, at the time we needed real guidelines. And so now we established guidelines, and now I guess, you know, because of the dates, we have to revise the guidelines. I would like to see them revamped or maybe like in a shell, just so that we're providing, you know, shovel-ready homes, because I don't know if you've ever had to get a permit in our building department sometimes. It can take a very, very long time. So what we can do by fast-tracking it to make sure that it is, you know, shovel-ready, maybe just not ensuring that it doesn't have like furnishing or floors, that they have that opportunity to pick those things out. But I think we should, you know, be able to rehab them and provide them with a shell so that they can create their home. It's something that I would like to see, only because I know, well, we all know how long it can take sometimes to get a permit or move forward with things, or there may be some underlying things that may need to be remedied, you know, if it's flood mitigation, whatever needs to happen. We don't want them to go under and then boom, there's pipes or there's more stuff that needs to be done. And now whatever they submitted the bid for doesn't even, you know, it doesn't even match up. So that's
But
what.
that would be on them, though.
Yeah, but that's just what I'm just saying, for us, you know, with our mandate to provide affordable housing, knowing we're not in the business of making money, and we can, you know, have the opportunity to put, you know, North Miami residents and, you know, our employees in a home.
Residents.
Yeah,
Wait,
so
wait a minute,
it's
those,
always a
wait, Councilwoman, okay, respectfully, and this is the.
Mr. Mayor, if I may, because I just have one more
Yes,
point and
go
then I'm
ahead.
done. Thank you. And the last thing that I would make a recommendation on, just to ensure that, you know, we give residents the priority, like you stated, is maybe bring down the point value of North Miami employee CRA from 15 to like 10 or 5. Only because I know there are a lot of employees who are residents, so they would, you know, easily get 40 points with that criteria. That's the only change I would make. Thank you.
Where would the
What is this?
points
Where
be
would add
reallocated to? If you're gonna subtract, where would you add the?
Add it to resident.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Could you repeat that again, the point?
So
Where?
I would remove about, well, you guys can decide, anywhere between 5 to 10 points from North Miami employee
Employees?
and move it
Okay.
up to resident. Thank you.
Oh, okay. That makes sense. So it's still be in the realm of being a resident.
Yes.
In terms of that. Yeah, going back to.
I think that
So
will
you wanna
require a
make the
motion.
recommendation?
Yeah.
Is it recommendation is,
So before we make the
Wait,
full
wait, hold
motion, I
on.
would recommend just 10 and then put 5, add
wait,
5 more
I'm trying to
points.
figure out, what
The
page are
last-
we on? The
page
last
6.
page?
The point allocation.
Point
Point
allocation
allocation,
is in what page?
It's
Page
What
6.
page?
The last item and
This one?
page-
Oh.
page
oh,
Page
no,
6.
Gotcha.
Page 6 or page.
So, okay, I see it.
Yeah.
Yes. So the
Yeah, I don't-
first one is the city, okay, make it 10 and make that 30? Or are we going with,
Whichever one you decide, just think
It
that we
doesn't
should just
matter.
move her.
so you want to,
Right, I would, I would say make the city of North Miami 10 and then make the
Yeah,
resident
30.
30, that's what it is.
Okay.
okay, this is, so this will be 10, okay, this is 30. Yeah, going back to what we were talking about, for example, there's another commercial property that's in District 4. That's not, that, you know, and there's nothing in terms of these guidelines. But again, I'm going back to what we are talking about. And if I need to make a motion, because, you know, my recommendation is we do what we do for those 2 residents, and we move forward, let them, you know, qualify whoever's qualified, and then we can move forward and do whatever that we need to do with the back and forth. Because I do get a sense of, you know, it's not clear, or your mandate is not in terms of clear in terms of what we want to do, but I want to be very crystal clear in terms of my intent is those properties should be in the few years that's been going, the residents and those folks who've been inquiring about it, that should be you know, the process, if they meet the guidelines, and then we look at whatever that we want to do with affordable housing, with all of these different things.
Do you
Because
feel,
Mhm.
Mr. Chair,
Yes.
do you feel that if those residents that you would like to, so my,
Yes.
let me ask a question. Do you feel that they could not meet these criteria that are?
No. This,
You
no, they
understand?
did it.
So-
They met it before. No, this has nothing to do with the criteria.
Right,
They've
because
met
the-
it
what
before.
what I think I'm hearing from you is, yes, pass these guidelines, but go ahead and do this for them, so then
Well,
that's
that
out
was
of the
my intent.
guidelines.
Well, that was my intent before.
So that's
when
what I'm
we-
trying to understand
when-
what.
When we had the guidelines, before we even had these guidelines, there was broad conversation on this topic. And I voiced the same thing 3 years ago in terms of, hey, you guys could do that, and we could roll the tape. You guys could put up this guideline, but I don't think it's fair for someone who's been going through the process for 3 or 4 years, you know, whatever the case is. So we did pass the guideline. That's what whatever the case
No, we
is.
haven't passed the guideline.
No,
I
no,
think
no,
we're
no,
trying
no.
to pass the guideline.
No, I remember, I don't know what we passed, but when
We
Ms.
did-
We
we
passed
passed
these
something.
guidelines, they went out,
That's
and
what I
only
thought.
2 employees
That it-
responded.
Okay,
and one
so
resident.
that's what yeah, the guidelines that we passed had dates, specific dates, and the folks this is how unfair this process has been. And I have one of the residents who are here, in the audience. The other one couldn't, you know, in terms of work, they're trying to make it, but the whole back and forth was, when we did it the last way, we said this was the way to do it. The residents came and they submitted the stuff, and then they were playing politics because it was just back and forth. You know, the executive director didn't know what was going on, whatever the case is. It kind of delayed. And then it was moved up to post into, hey, the executive director could make the decision. So now today I'm hearing it needs to, like, she can't make the decision and come back to us, whatever. So it's been so many different guidelines and back and forth with these two. I support I was the district commissioner at that time when this was going, and I had no idea by any chance that it would have been this long, because that was the whole purpose of us giving it from the
3 years to
city
get a park.
to the CRA. And that was that. And we did ask about the park, and the residents didn't want it in terms of that. They never came, they didn't ask for nothing, they don't want nothing, they want to pay for whatever value the property is. One of them doesn't even have a house in there, and the person that lived next to it. So, when we talk about affordable housing and all this and all that, we have a perfect example, but yet we're playing this political ping pong, and I just want to be clear today. Today, what's the intent of the board? Are we going to dispose of this property, let these things, and then move forward with these guidelines, whatever the cases? Or are we going to play games and do whatever that we want to do? That's where I am with this, because you get to a point where you're tired, and I know they tired. And that's all we're doing, because it's like going back and forth. We're playing games back and forth, back and forth. Yes, we had guidelines. Yes, they did submit it. 2 times. I don't know, Miss Guzman, how many times you submitted stuff? No, well, this is your time. You please. Yes, public hearing on the item.
Yeah,
I'm
we're
sorry.
still discussing, though.
I thought we closed public hearing.
No, I don't think we.
Oh, I'm sorry. I thought it was open and closed usually. Okay. No.
So
But no,
then-
this is the right time. But go ahead. Yes.
Right.
ma'am.
So, let me ask a legal question.
Yes.
How do we legally and dispose a property to a resident with, that would be without guidelines?
No.
So I'm trying to
The-
understand
okay.
what
Well, the
you're asking.
statute
So-
does allow you to dispose of them
The
without the guidelines.
statute, yes, before. Before, this is, no, Steve,
Maybe
you,
like the-
what we were told was that there was some statute that was more lenient towards the CRA.
So, Mr. Mayor,
Mhm.
here's what I'm trying to understand, because you're kind of confusing me. So, I have guidelines here that I'm ready to vote on, right?
Mhm.
But you're saying that you want specific persons to have these properties. I don't think that's what we're voting on. right?
No. I know exactly what we are voting on.
So can you,
Okay, let me clarify
right, because I
what
don't
I'm
understand
saying.
what you're saying.
The guideline came up as a result of whatever the case is, how these guidelines got here. This was a couple years ago. So once these same guidelines were voted on already, so those residents submitted their information and got qualified under these same guidelines. So I'm not worrying about them not qualified or not doing what needs to be done. What I am worrying about is I don't want any games or anything like that. If these folks gonna submit it, gonna do what needs to be done. Personally, I had said it. I had said that I don't think it should be fair for them to be applied by those guidelines, because they had applied 3 years prior to folks coming in putting guidelines in. And despite that, they went on, they submitted, and then it was like, oh, okay, we didn't submit guidelines, and now we back here on year 5 or 6, I don't even remember, talking about guidelines. So that's what I want to be very clear. The guidelines were put in place, they submitted, they followed the guideline, and we didn't do anything, and then we kept on moving the post. That's all I'm saying. So we could do whatever we want to do, but we just want to get the record on that.
Okay, so I want to make a motion to accept these guidelines. That's
Yes.
So we
what
have
I'd
to
like
open up
do.
public hearing?
Yeah,
Yeah.
public hearing is open on the item. And I'm okay with the
amendment that
guidelines.
we made.
Yeah, just
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
5 to 10.
Good evening. My name is Veronica Guzman, 540 Northwest 127th Street. Good evening, CRA members, Ms. Manuel and Mr. Zelkowitz. I, since 2015, have been trying to purchase the property at 12505 Northwest 11th Avenue. I was originally trying to purchase it from a realtor who was selling the property and kept saying it was under contract. Eventually, the property did move over to the city. I then, in 2020, February 11th of 2020, my mayor, who was my councilman then, put it on the agenda to be disposed of, and it was tabled. March 10th, it was tabled again, and then we shut down for the pandemic. I have jumped through hoops. I have spoken to 4 different CRA executive directors. In May 1st of 2022, there was a public notice posted for sale of the property. I submitted my proposal. June 9th of that year, I followed up with the CRA and I was told that the process was put on hold. I've met with my current councilman. I've sent emails to all the board members. I've only received responses from 4 of you. I was told that as a professional courtesy, everyone handles their district and disposes of their property.
Yeah.
In November of 2021, there was an unsolicited bid for the Gwen Margolis Center that was approved by the council. So I don't understand what the back and forth is between a resident trying to purchase the property and other people, commercial properties being different. This would be my primary residence. I work in the city. I work at a local hospital. I have waited all this time. Anytime there's an issue with the property, I pass by it every single day. I report it. If there's a broken window, I report it. If the grass is too high, I report it. All this time, the city could have been getting taxes from me, and instead, it's just sitting there. I haven't asked for anything from the CRA as being cost-effective. For me, to save the city money, I would repurpose the property. I would redevelop it. That money from the CRA can go to other beautification, projects. It doesn't, all I wanted was these 4 walls and this roof. And I just ask that you give me the opportunity. Thank you.
Public hearing is still open. I know there was one person, which is Nancy Latour. She with traffic and stuff, but the similar situation those 2 were in reference to those 2 properties. It's going back historically, and I honestly, and I think they know, I can't, but I've done everything that I can, and I don't lie to them. So I don't know if there's any plan y'all doing something. We need to know, and we vote on it and move forward. If not, just do that, and life goes on. Life is real short, and the fact that we have done this to our residents, it's really, really sad. I'm just saying that, but.
When did you say
You don't do
you said
that.
you applied and you said that you didn't receive when the notice went out? What date was that again? You said.
And she received it.
Come to the microphone,
I'm sorry.
please, if you're going to
I'm
speak.
sorry.
Thank you.
May 1st of 2022, a public notice was put out for residents to bid on, for whoever, to bid
Yeah.
on the property and to submit a proposal. I submitted a proposal. I emailed, sent regular mail, sent certified mail to Gail McDonald at that time. And June 9th, when I followed up, the deadline was May 31st. When I followed up June 9th, whoever answered the phone told me, oh, the process is put on hold. We're not doing that anymore.
Okay. That was the only time that you recall that it was open? Right.
Correct.
Okay. Thank you. That was all.
Okay, So,
Vice Mayor, you had a motion?
Right, so I had a motion to approve
To
the
accept.
guidelines with the amendment that we made to change the city of North Miami employee portion to 10 and to the city residents to 30.
yeah, that's fine.
Second.
Yeah.
I have a motion made by Vice Chair Estimate Urban to approve Agenda Item 8 with the modification to the point allocation under the evaluation criteria to revise the point allocations to bring down the allocations for city employees from 15 points to 10 points and reallocate the 5 points to residents to increase that to 30 points under Agenda Item 8. The motion was seconded by Board Member Timothy. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries with a 5-0 vote.
Thank you. So now, Madam Executive Director, so what is the, what are we doing here? So you got your guideline, what's the steps?
Well, I would now
Any
need,
action from us?
yes, I would need to know, so right now we just have guidelines. I have no instructions on what to do with the properties as yet. So I need you to tell me, do you want me to go ahead and put out a 163 notice for all 3 properties, 2 of the properties, 1 of the properties? Do you want us to investigate what redeveloping the properties as a CRA would look like? 1, 2, or 3 of the properties, you know, that's
Can you do all the
direction.
piece- Can you just do each piece on its own? Because I think this one
Yes.
particular property.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah,
so can
well,
we?
it's three of them.
The three of them.
Yes.
Right, but
Yeah, but
since
it's
there's
2.
3 different properties
Mhm.
and there's probably 3 different sets of circumstances.
Yes.
Let's just divide them up and
Yeah,
put
into
out
3, whatever
what you
the
need
case
to
is.
do.
Yeah, and then bring it back to us. Would that be okay?
So which one would we start with?
No, those two,
You
No,
do
why-
them all 3 at the
all
same
3,
time. In
that's
other
what
words,
I'm saying.
instead of trying to have a blanket path forward to fit all 3,
Yeah, each
have
one separate.
each one separate.
And
And
bring it
if you
to
want to
us.
put out one tomorrow and the next one in 2 weeks, the next one in whatever, that's your administrative decision from my standpoint.
Just saying
and
separately.
just get them dealt with rather than,
Okay, so
Back on.
does she bring it back and then we vote on it and then we, or
no,
you?
I would just say, let the director be the director and
Well, that's what I.
So, okay.
That's what-
All right,
you
all
have
right, all right. So the
guidelines.
board, okay, we have guidelines.
Yeah.
right, there's
Right.
guidelines.
So right now, the board can choose to say CRA, go ahead and, or staff, please go out and put a 163 notice for these 3 properties
do
or
that.
any one of them. Or the board could choose to say, well, maybe for 1, 2, or 3 of the properties, we would like the CRA to develop these properties. What would that look like? And we could do that too.
We
So it
said
just,
item 1, I
Also-
told you.
So this one particular property, and I
Okay.
apologize, I hope I'm one of the ones that responded to your email, okay. I don't know, because it comes and goes so fast. I mean, let's just move this and get this
Okay.
one going, rather than continue
Well,
to
this
belabor.
one
a
and
And-
the.
and also the
in
one on 132nd.
Street. Because I don't know why
Okay.
she's not here. So those 2, at least we know those are pending, and those are my big things. So we could do
Okay.
those and move
Mhm.
forward. I don't care what happened after that, quite honestly.
so the will of the board is to do a 163 notice for the 2 structures.
Yes, and,
Yes.
Let's
yes.
get a motion, please, and a second
Sure.
vote.
I
Second.
second that.
Which 2 properties?
132nd and one on
11th
11th.
Avenue, 12505 Northeast 11th Avenue.
Uh-huh.
Ooh, I got that by memory.
Yes.
I,
Northwest.
Northwest.
Yes.
Oh,
So
I
the
said
motion
Northeast. I said
from whom?
Northeast. Sorry.
I wrote that down, Stephen. You see it? You see it there?
For the 2 properties,
Well,
for the 2 properties that are improved, not the vacant property.
Yes,
Right.
in the vacant. No,
And-
no,
and-
that is the vacant, the one on 132nd.
The vacant lot is 975 Northwest
Yes.
132nd Street.
So who's the maker of the motion?
So that would be Scott, I guess?
So moved.
No, you're
Second.
the,
Yeah. he-
wait, what are we moving?
Whatever, like,
What are
you
we
know.
moving, please? Can we
Yeah,
clarify
he knows.
the motion?
I've made a motion on the property on Northwest 132nd Street and the property on Northwest 11th Avenue, that we proceed with the
Process.
Yes.
process to
Dispose.
dispose of those 2 properties.
And the second was from you, Councilman Charles?
That was me.
Thank you, Board Member Charles, excuse me. I have a motion made by Board Member Galvin to begin the process to dispose of the two properties, 12505 Northwest 11th Avenue and 975 Northwest 132nd Street. Seconded by Board Member Charles. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries with a 4-0 vote.
Thank you. Thank you. All right, Madam, CRA Attorney report,
No report tonight. No report tonight, sir.
ma'am.
So we do have the project updates that we have provided for you, the monthly updates. So if there are any questions on what has been provided, we are here to answer.
Let me ask, one quick question regarding the, oh, okay, that's the one on, the property 12603 17th Avenue. There was something about they may need more money. They haven't come to you guys, right? On 126 Northwest 17th.
Which,
It's a plaza, shopping. Which one?
Do you
Did
have
we?
an extra
No, not
copy?
that one.
The
This is on
17th Avenue Plaza?
17th. Yeah,
No, he has not reached out.
okay. But, because I know it was looking okay, and then I saw a mural was going up.
I mean, I spoke to him a month ago. He did the phase he was going to move forward with was the landscaping.
Okay. Looks good. And the other one I had a question
You guys have an extra copy of that?
on was,
Oh.
how is that going, Michelle's?
We still, I had a conversation with the contractor yesterday. He
Okay.
submitted a proposal. We've had a few hiccups,
I know.
and hopefully we'll have a chance to discuss that with the board at the briefings.
Okay, but are they on, well, I know they're not on schedule.
No, they are not on schedule.
And
They're
this is
having
part
fun.
of the contribution we got from the county, or this is just only our
This is just our contribution.
hours?
Yeah, they are still trying to get the contribution.
They didn't,
sorry.
they didn't get it?
Not yet.
Okay, okay. This is, which one is this? No lead, okay, that's 12, okay. Yeah, I think that was the big one, and the other one is, this one, the 652, is that the senior foundation? No, I think they're on 129, right? No.
Yeah, they're 127,
Okay,
127.
okay.
No, that's the property next to Publix.
Okay.
Yeah,
well,
the
across from
blue roof,
Publix.
yeah.
The blue, not the red and white,
No,
okay,
yeah.
I see. And they haven't started yet?
Which-
Okay,
No, they are
that's-
still in the
this
permitting
one,
phase.
128th Street by Publix? Okay. Oh, these two haven't started yet, okay, pending, okay.
So wait, I got a question. 640 Northeast 128th Street, that's what you're asking about?
Yes.
Is-
652. 652. It's on the second page.
Sorry.
No, towards the bottom?
Okay.
Yeah, that project was approved in December.
Yes.
So are either of those properties the auto sales facility?
Yes, the property you're referring to is the 640 Northeast.
640.
128th, yes. That was, that property was approved in 2021, and it was completed a few months ago.
Right. But the tenant that they recruited to go into that location was not a,
No, that tenant is not a grantee.
so, okay.
The
so-
property owner was the grantee.
Correct, okay, I just want to make sure that that was clear, that it was Mr. Mendez who was the grantee and the award winner, and he did all what he did, and then he brought in somebody who wasn't for that zone, and so that tenant is moving out, I guess.
Yes, I believe so. We had met with the tenant, and we told him he would need to reach out to zoning before he could continue that conversation with the CRA.
Let me ask a question, Madam Executive Director and Mr. Attorney. Do we have, or are we allowed to set up any type of fund for emergency, like, I don't know, hazard, or like a fire, or something like that, if one of the houses in the CRA is burnt?
I would imagine that would fall under our beautification. We could do
Yeah,
a
but
rehabilitation
and
of
we
that
don't-
home
okay.
if they, yeah.
The reason that I asked that, and is I know we did it on the city side one many years ago. We had a resident who didn't, And nowadays, we are finding more and more, especially for seniors who do not have insurance. And you, as you know, that's, you know, you would assume if, you know, your house is insured and have insurance, but unfortunately, it's more and more people that does not have it. I'm not saying there's any, but just in case, because we have seen, you know, a little bit of activity. We just had a resident a couple of weeks ago from District 4 who homes caught on fire. Older folks, they've been there for over 40 years. And unfortunately, you know, they looking at us. And so I'm just saying maybe next year that is something that we should consider. Maybe set aside, you know, 100 and then we could roll it over, whatever the case is, just in case these happens. All right? That's basically it. Thank you. Madam? Nothing? Galvin?
No reports.
Sir?
Good.
We good? We all good?
Move to
Okay.
adjourn.
Second.
I have a motion to adjourn made by Board Member Galvin, seconded by Chairman Desilme. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries with a 4-0 vote. It is now 6:46 PM.
6:46? Oh, wow. It's almost time. It's been going on.
That was a